everything looks kind of the same as it did before they fired Scott Servais.
Like J.P. Crawford, they're hitting $198. Mitch Garver, that's having the worst hitting season in the history of the Seattle Mariners. He's hitting $164. Mitch Haniger, who, can't hit a fastball. I mean, we go down the line. I put it on player productivity as much as anything else.
I don't think while we're blaming players, we should necessarily absolve others who were involved here. Scott Servais was the manager of the team when they were losing 8 games out of 9 leading to his firing. Jerry DiPoto was the president of baseball operations for this team when they were putting it together in the offseason and doing so without having as much offensive firepower as they needed to go out and win. I think their model has gotten it wrong, straight up wrong on offensive players in recent seasons. But I'm also going to look at John Stanton and Chris Larson. When you are putting limits on the team to the extent that they have, of course you're going to wind up in a situation like this.
Jeff Passan, hell to the yes. It is about time that someone other than me said this, which brings me to a new segment of Nirvana. I got a new complaint. Well, it's actually kind of an old complaint, but we haven't talked baseball on this channel in over a year, so for most of my subscribers, it's a new complaint. Firing Scott Servais was the right decision. I'm not arguing with that. Bottom line, in 8 years, he's only made the playoffs once, got swept in the ALDS. This year, the M's blew a 10-game lead in the division, lost 8 of 9 games before Servais was fired. Makes sense to fire him. But don't think for 1 second the buck stops at Scott Servais. How about our president of baseball operations saying that 54% is an acceptable goal?
I can tell you that if we win 54% of our games over the course of a decade, you're going to play in the World Series.
What kind of a competitor's mentality is that? Look, there's 162 games in a season. Nobody comes into the season thinking they're going to win them all. But 54% is the standard? So 88 wins. That's the goal. 88 wins wouldn't have been enough to win the AL West since 2015. That's obviously not including the 2020 60-game season, but that's how long it's been since 88 wins would have been enough to win the AL West. So what you're saying is our goal is to slip in barely as a wild card team. That's the goal. What kind of a competitor comes in with that goal? And while DiPoto's goal for mediocrity is honestly an embarrassment to all of baseball, it's a black eye to all of baseball. It's a disgrace to all of baseball to have a president of operations in an organization that sets the bar that low. He's not the Mariners' biggest in-house problem, because the problem is really with the cheapness of ownership. The Mariners are 16th in payroll right now. You know where they stack up in the MLB rankings as far as record goes? 17th. The Mariners have the 17th best record in the MLB. You think it's a coincidence that their payroll is 16th and they're the 17th best team? I don't. 10 of the teams with a better record than Seattle spend more than Seattle. I'm not saying the Mariners need to break the bank, become the highest spending team in order to go chase a championship. I'm not saying that's what it takes. I am saying they need to get into the top 10 in payroll, though. Hell, at this point, I'll accept top 15. And really, it was clear how cheap ownership wanted to be this offseason when Shohei Ohtani was available. There were several reports linking Shohei Ohtani to the Seattle Mariners. So the Mariners probably had a very real shot at landing Shohei Ohtani, a player that's in all likelihood going to go 50-50 by the end of September, and yet it didn't work out. Not because he wasn't open to it. Sounds like he was. And here's the other insane part. It's not because he wasn't willing to work with the team on salary. Look at what he did for the Dodgers. He deferred the vast majority of his contract 10 years. So this generational player who brings an arm and a bat to your club only counts $2 million a year against the Dodgers payroll until 2034. Why couldn't the Mariners have offered that contract? You know, and remember, another piece of how Ohtani was going to select where he wanted to go somewhere where he would have a chance to win a championship. Why doesn't Ohtani feel like that's Seattle? And honestly, any other free agent should probably feel the same way. Why? Well, it's simple. When your president of operations / GM says the goal is 54%, that doesn't tell me this is an organization that wants to win. When your organization hasn't been top 10 in payroll since 2018, that doesn't tell me this is a team that's ready to compete for a championship. The Mariners front office gives no indication that they're willing to do what it takes to commit to winning. I'm Mike on the mic, coming at you from Seattle, Washington. Please remember to like and subscribe to help the channel grow, and I will catch you guys next time. Later.